Okay. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Yeah. Okay. So once again, good evening to everyone. I am Sonal Jaishekhar, emotional wellness and holistic mind coach, fellow child and adolescent counselor, and since long time I've been there with NHCA. So today we are going to talk about hopelessness. What do you exactly understand by hopelessness? What is hopelessness? Can we have the answers on the chat? Yes? Okay, no solution for a certain problem. Feels helpless and lost. Dr. Farzana is saying. Okay, stuck. Feeling good for nothing. Okay. When you think, okay, quite speedy answers I'm getting. So I'm not able to read them out also. Okay, feeling that there is no help, totally lost, feeling of not being able to find a way out, bleak. Okay, then no desire to do anything, fear of failure, feeling no way out. When you think you cannot do nothing or you're not worth, yes, feeling worthless. Part of depression where you feel there is no solution at all, yes. Feeling good for nothing. When you lose all hope and positivity, very true. Uncertainty, yes. Feels helpless and lost, uncertainty. So yes, basically we have all multiple answers. It's like a full platter of answers that we have got here. So my second question is, has any one of you, or have like all of you, ever in your life felt hopeless? Yes. Have you ever got that feeling that, like maybe there is uncertainty, or maybe nothing can be done, or, just feeling worthless? Has it ever happened to you? Okay, let me see. Yes. Okay. Okay. So basically, many people are saying yes, that means they have undergone through hopelessness, maybe some or the other time of their life. So it's temporary, but we all have undergone. Yes, very true. Felt like in complete darkness. Yes, that is true. When the things are not going according to you, when you feel that as if you're losing your control over everything. Okay, Deepa is saying, yes, ma'am, since 4 years, but from January, I'm booting myself and build myself, yet a little hopeless at some areas. Well, I can only say that, see, there are certain periods of time when every one of us experience that hopelessness, but only a survivor can come out of it. Okay, so hopelessness is nothing wrong, but overcoming it is the most important thing. Yes, so that is, I think everyone should do. Feels like standing in the last step of our path of life. Very true. That is something which happens with us when we are feeling hopeless. So yes, we have actually kind of, every one of us, have undergone some or the other phase in. It can be anything in our life. It can be on any stage of life. It can be in any condition of life. We can face hopelessness. So that is something, it's like normal sometimes, not always. If a person is having that feeling of hopelessness for a very long period of time, then definitely it is not correct. It has to be, broken somewhere. We have to come out of that hopelessness. That is something very, very important. So today we are going to understand what exactly is hopelessness. Like, we have certain ideas about hopelessness, but from a psychology point of view, if we try to understand, so we are going to see what exactly is hopelessness, what are the different types of hopelessness which are there, why do they appear, and then we have certain practical tips through which we can try to come out of that hopelessness. So we'll be talking about it in today's session. Okay. So moving to hopelessness, like obviously we have to understand what is hope. Okay. So hope is when we have certain, certain things about which we think about, we believe that this should happen. We believe that we should get this, or we should find this, or we should be able to do this, or this is something which should happen in our life. So that is something which is hope is all about. Okay. So this hope is actually associated with the fulfillment of vital needs. Now, vital needs, if we'll say, like we can say that vital needs are what? They are basically related to our basic needs. Food and water and all these things are the basic needs. They are the vital needs. But other than that, as a human being, only food and water is not our need, because that is a need of every living being on this earth. So other than that, there are certain things which serve as a vital need for human being, because just like Nandita is saying, hope keeps us going. So for a human being, these are those things which are as important as food and water and other bodily needs. They are as important to keep us going, right? So what are these needs? Number one, attachment. All of us, we all are human beings. We all wish to have physical proximity, intimacy, emotional bonding, sometimes even spiritual unity also. So this is something no one can deny. Every one of us wish to have someone in our life with whom we can share an emotional bonding. And that is one of the vital needs of every human being. And in case, if it is, yes, it's belongingness. So in case if someone doesn't get it, then definitely the hopelessness will appear there. So that way, attachment is one of the most important vital needs. Then the next one is mastery. We all want to accomplish something in our life. We all want to be known for something that we have done. We all want to be productive in our life. We want to, master out something. So that is something which is very, very important as a human being, because that gives us a sense of, a sense of superiority, a sense of being able to do something. It gives us, actually, it is important for our self-esteem. When we feel that, okay, we are worth something, we are able to do something. So that need for mastery is again a vital need, which we all wish to do. We suppose, let's say, for example, if we all have joined this course, all those who have joined this course, definitely there was something which you wanted to accomplish in your life. Maybe there was something that you wanted to achieve in your life. That is why you have joined this course. So that feeling that you want to achieve is that feeling of mastery, the need of mastery that every single person wants to achieve in their life. So that is again one more vital need. Then the next one is the survival. Survival is a need which appears whenever there is some physical challenge, or maybe some kind of condition which appears in a life, when when there is a anxiety, when there is some kind of loss in their life. So that survival, the need for survival appears in that case when we need to fight out. Maybe, for example, there is some kind of illness, so fighting out that is the need for survival. And again, that builds the hope in us. Our hope is related to that. Okay, I will be able to come out of this. I'll be able to survive. That is what is hope is all about. But in case if a person is not able to get that hope, that leads to hopelessness. So these are the three vital needs which are associated with hope. And related to these only, when any one of these, or maybe they can be a combination of these three also, or combination of two also, or individually one also. So whenever the person finds that he's not getting his needs fulfilled, any of these vital needs fulfilled, it leads to hopelessness. So we are going to see some of the conditions which leads to hopelessness. What are those different types of hopelessness which takes place in a human being? So let's see. So we are going to see the different forms of hopelessness. So number one is alienation. Now, the feeling of alienation is something which appears when obviously it is related to our attachment need. It is related to our need to be connected to people. But when we start feeling that people have forgotten, people do not include me in in their group, when maybe, for example, in some social gathering where you see that people are not taking you in together into their group, or the friends who have forgotten you, they are like not responding to you, you are feeling rejected by them. So this kind of thing leads to the feeling of hopelessness, which is called as alienation. So the person feels that he is not wanted, he is not included. And because of that feeling, even sometimes the person starts avoiding or rejecting people. Like when the person gets the feeling that, okay, I am not wanted, I am not liked, I am not needed, so automatically what will happen? They will try to move away from people. Even if someone will try to approach them, so they will reject that approach, and that will even create a greater hopelessness in them. So this is something which is related to the attachment need of a person. So the next one, so this was number one. Number two, the next kind of hopelessness is called Forsaken-Ness. So what happens is that in Forsaken-Ness, it is somewhat like the alienation only, but there is a basic difference between this one, because it is not only related to attachment need, it is also related to the survival need. Why? Because sometimes in life it happens that a person is in a great need. He wants someone to just put forward their hand to help them out. But when he doesn't get any kind of help from anyone. In that case, the person gets that feeling that probably he has been abandoned when he needed the people most. It can be the family members or maybe the friends. So this kind of feeling appears when the person is in some kind of need and he's not getting that help which is needed by him. So that is called as Forsaken-Ness. The person feels rejected or stigmatized. He feels that the people should have come out to help him out, but they did not, and totally he has been abandoned. So that kind of feeling leads to the hopelessness, which is called as Forsaken-Ness. I have got some chat here, so let me just check the chat. Okay, alienation slide. Okay, yeah, just I'll go back once again to the alienation slide. Yes. So alienation is all about when you feel that you have been forgotten. People have just forgotten you. They are not including you. And Forsaken-Ness, like I told you, it is a feeling which appears when a person is in need and he hopes that so and so person, maybe the friend or the family member or someone, is going to come out to help them, and when they don't come, so that feeling of Forsaken-Ness, that is the hopelessness which appears in the person. And because of this, what happens, the person starts distrusting people, distrusting his surrounding, because he believes that, okay, when I need someone, no one comes to me. So gradually the person starts believing that there is no one who's going to help him out. So that way he starts distrusting people. So that is Forsaken-Ness. Moving on to the next one. Next is lack of inspiration. Many a times, what happens is that we don't get, this can happen many times with us also. Like, we don't get physically or mentally stimulated, motivated, or creative. We are just not able to, whatever we want to do, we are not getting that, kind of that boost which is needed. And we are just feeling like, if someone asks, oh, I'm not getting that inspiration, feeling stuck somewhere. So this is something which is related to the mastery need. When people want to master something and they are feeling that they are stuck, they're not able to move ahead, they feel blocked, thoughts are not moving ahead and things like that. So it sometimes creates that feeling of hopelessness, especially the people who are creative, into the creative career. Let's say, for example, the writers or any of the creative field. When they are not able to move ahead, they are not able to find something new, they're not able to create something interesting for themselves, so they feel blocked, they feel that something is totally lost, and that can create a feeling of hopelessness. That is the lack of inspiration which happens with them. Yes, creativity block, it happens with the artists. Okay. Yes, previous slide. Okay. Okay. Okay, just a second. Let me go back. Yeah. Yes. So this was Forsaken-Ness. This is what you wanted. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. We have already discussed the lack of inspiration, not feeling mentally or physically stimulated or creative, feeling blocked, So this is something mostly which happens with artists, but it can happen with anyone also. Like, see, some or the other way, when there can be some day when you don't feel like going to the job. Okay, someday it's okay, but if you're continuously feeling like okay, it's not creating interest in you, so that is also a kind of hopelessness which is emerging. So that is something which is a lack of inspiration. Now moving on to the next one, the powerlessness. Okay, so powerlessness is again related to the mastery hopes. We all want to have control over things, something, at least some things in our life we want to control. Okay, but there can be some point of time in our life that we start feeling that our actions have no influence, or they have no impact on the world. Like there can be sometimes some people who feel that whatever they are doing, it is not creating any change, any influence, anything on anyone. So basically it's like whatever they are doing, it's like useless. So that is the feeling of powerlessness. Okay, people feel devoid of any strength or authority. They feel that they are not able to control the things. Okay, they are not having the power to move themselves also towards their goal. Nothing is in their control. They are not able to control the situation, they are not able to control the environment, they are not able to control the people. So they are not able to move towards their goal. They are not having the authority to make a decision. Okay, so because of that, they get that kind of feeling that they are just powerless. They are not the author of their own life. Someone else is controlling their life. So that leads to the form of hopelessness, which is called as powerlessness. Just a second. Let me just read the chat first. Yeah, during the lockdown, very true. It has happened with almost with all of us. We all felt, we are being confined, we are not able to do anything. We are powerless. Even creativity got blocked. So I think many types of hopelessness we must have experienced, especially during the past 1.5 to 2 years. Okay, so moving ahead. Next is oppression. This type of hopelessness appears in those people who are like, all those people who are suppressed, those who are not treated equally, all those people who, sorry, just a second. Yeah. So all those people who have been suppressed in their life, it can be some group of people or some person, maybe people who are suppressed in their family also, or maybe in the society also. So they get this kind of hopelessness. They are not, they get the feeling that they are not being treated fairly or equally. And there is some kind of oppression going on against them. They feel downtrodden. They have been suppressed by a group of people in the society. So it can happen with people, it can happen in family also, wherein maybe some female, if she's being suppressed by the family members, so she can also get that kind of feeling. So this is a feeling of oppression, and which is a form of hopelessness, which appears because of the society conditions or the environmental conditions which the person is facing. So we have got something in the chat. Yes, targeted for humiliation at workplace too. Yes, very true. Sometimes even in the workplace also you are being suppressed by maybe the authority. See, it can happen in any time of life, wherein again there is a feeling of powerlessness, and then you feel that you are being suppressed by people, where you are not able to do something and people are trying to humiliate you. So that kind of feeling can come. So moving ahead, next is limitedness. Okay, so limitedness is something when person feels that he's not having the enough resources to achieve the goals. There are maybe some kind of financial restraints, or maybe other resources which are lacking, maybe, or even if a person is facing a physical handicapness, a person who's physically handicapped, he will also get this kind of hopelessness, because he's not having those things which he's not able to perform those things which other people are able to do. The reason is his physical challenge that he's facing. So not having enough resources to achieve goal is something which leads to limitedness. Maybe sometimes it's lack of money. Person wants to do something, maybe some kind of course or something, wants to open a business or something, but there's no money. So that kind of thing which can lead to this feeling of limitedness. Experiencing deficient, lacking in right step to make it in the world. Yes, so basically whatever is needed for a person's survival, person when he needs something to do something, and he's not having enough of resources to do it. A person wants to study, he's not able to study because maybe they're financially not good, or want to do something but not having the resources, or physically the body is not allowing. So any of such sort can lead to the hopelessness, which is called limitedness. Okay, so we can move ahead, I hope. Yes. Okay. Hopelessness also leads to procrastination. Yes, many times when you are feeling that you are, when you say like you have lack of inspiration, so obviously when you have lack of inspiration, you will not want to do also anything. So you will keep pending things, or you just don't want to do it. Okay, first form. Okay, at the end we will repeat it once again. Don't worry, because again it will be difficult going back to the first one. It is called as alienation, which appears because a person feels that he's being neglected. So that is the first form of hopelessness that we have done. Yes. When I feel less resourceful, then I procrastinate. Yes, very true. If we are feeling that, okay, we are, sometimes it's like less resources, or sometimes it's, it can be different reasons for procrastination. Procrastination is something different thing, and it can have many other reasons also. Yes, lack of resources can also be one of the reason that we are feeling that we are not having the resources, so we don't even try for it also. So that is something which can happen. Yes, very true. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, yes, so the next type of hopelessness is doom. Now, doom is related to survival need. Many a times when a person is, person is in despair, person feels that, there is a sinking kind of feeling that he's getting in his life. He's feeling that maybe there is something out of which he'll never be able to come out. Maybe he may experience death in his life. Let's say, for example, this can happen when a person faces some serious life-threatening illness. So in that case, the person can feel this kind of hopelessness. The person feels doomed. The person feels trapped into, kind of a, there is a fog around him, which is like engulfing him, and he'll never be able to come out of it. What is he going to do? How is he going to survive? So that kind of feeling which comes in person, that now maybe his end is arriving near. So that kind of hopelessness, it appears maybe because of some chronic disease, or some kind of condition in the life which leads to this kind of feeling. Yes, it can be sometimes in imprisonment, but in imprisonment we have another type of hopelessness, which is called as captivity, which we are going to see the next one. This is basically related to when the person is feeling now that his death is arriving near. Any kind of chronic disease which has the person has, the person is having. So he's feeling that okay, now I may not be able to come out of this. I may not be able to, chronic diseases like maybe cancer, or some such kind of issues. So that kind of thing can happen. So in any of the serious or life-threatening illness case, the person will have this kind of hopelessness. Okay. So next one, we'll move on to the next one. Yes. The next one, like I was telling you, is captivity. Again, captivity is also related to the survival need, where the person is feeling he is, he's captive, he's been captured, and he's not able to come out of it. Example, prisoner is one very good example of this, wherein the person is having this hopelessness because he's imprisoned and he knows that maybe when he's going to come out of it. So this kind of thing can happen in them. Also, it can happen with those people who are in abusive relationship, and they are not able to leave that relationship, they are not able to come out of that relationship, and they feel that they have been chained into that relationship. So that kind of hopelessness, again, it can happen in this condition which is called as captivity. And also, sometimes when this kind of this can happen even when a person himself is self-imprisoned. Like one example, we all have experienced it again during the lockdown. We all felt that kind of hopelessness, captivity. We were imprisoned. We were, not able to come out of. So many of us must have felt that kind of hopelessness, wherein we are not able to come out of that thing. So that is something there. Drugs or over alcohol, yeah, sometimes it can be when it can be like when a person is not able to come out of something. So that can also give them the feeling of captivity, certain things which is like causing pain to their life, but they're not able to come out of it. It can be a relationship, it can be something, some habit, something which they are not able to leave even if they want to. So that gives the feeling of captivity. So moving on to the next one. So the next one is helplessness. Helplessness is something where a person feels that he can no longer live safely in this world. They feel that they are vulnerable, they are exposed to they are exposed to so many things which are not under their control, and person gets so terrified with certain things. This can happen especially if a person has faced some kind of trauma, some kind of some kind of thing in his life which creates this kind of helplessness in them. Maybe a person who has experienced maybe some major traumatic accident, or even people who have experienced any other kind of trauma. Maybe they are a person who has experienced maybe rape, a woman who has experienced that kind of thing in his life. So that can create that feeling of helplessness, because the person feels the kind of feeling that person gets is that I'm terrified to go anywhere on my own. I feel as if I don't have power to defend myself. I cannot control if anything happens. So the person feels so helpless that he just wants someone's support all the time with him. So that is the helplessness which the person feels in his life. So that is called as that is the hopelessness, or we call it as helplessness, which is a form of hopelessness. Yes, so especially a person who has experienced violence, maybe violence, anyone who has experienced violence in his life, so definitely they will develop this kind of helplessness in them. They feel scared of maybe going somewhere or something will happen to them. So that kind of feeling appears in them. So that is something related to the hopelessness. So we have discussed the different forms of hopelessness which appears in a person's life, and the various conditions which leads to this hopelessness. So now we are going to see, why does this hopelessness occur? Like, what exactly is the reason that leads to this hopelessness? So we are going to see these all these different types of 9 types of hopelessness that we have studied. So we can group them into group of 3, and these group of 3 have certain cognitive distortions which leads a person to think in a particular way, and because of which the person gets that feeling of hopelessness. So we will be starting with the first 3, that is alienation, forsakenness, and lack of inspiration. So these 3 forms of hopelessness, they appear because of a certain kind of cognitive distortion that takes place in a person. So we'll be discussing these types of cognitive distortion which happen. So what are these? Number 1, mind reading. Number 2, all or nothing. And number 3, overgeneralization. Now let me explain these things a little more clearly. So if we talk about alienation or forsakenness, so many a times what happens is that many people get into that cognitive distortion of mind reading. They start thinking that they are able to read what people are trying to do, what they are trying to behave, what they are trying to portray. They are able to read people's mind, and so they start assuming that people are they are not liking me, they are not they don't want me, they are ignoring me, they are somehow avoiding me. So that kind of thought, maybe there may have been some reason because of which the person could not pay attention towards you. Maybe the person was busy, but somehow that kind of feeling got into the person, and he believed that he is able to read out what the person is showing, and they get into that kind of cognitive distortion. And so they start believing that yes, no one is there for them, no one cares for them, and that kind of thing happens in their mind. They believe that they are able to read people's behavior, and that is the reason they get this feeling or the hopelessness, which we call as alienation or forsakenness. Similarly, there is another kind of cognitive distortion, is like all or nothing. So what happens is that many a times people try to see things as black or white. Either it's black or it's white. So they are not able to see that there can be something gray also. They feel that yes, either it is right or it is wrong. There's nothing more than that. So that is the reason they start believing into people thinking that okay, a person is like this or he's like that. They become judgmental towards people. They think people are behaving in this way, and that is how it's actually a cognitive distortion which becomes like a chain. It goes on and on. One thought leads to another thought, and then another thought, and that way it goes on, and the person is not able to come out of that loop, and that is something which leads to the hopelessness. So the next this is what is all or nothing. And then overgeneralization is something wherein taking one thing as evidence, the person generalizes it over the whole situation. Maybe again, like maybe in one situation the person was ignored by someone, so the person has overgeneralized that thing, that okay, I am not liked by anyone, and so people are ignoring me. Maybe in one situation that had happened, but the person has generalized it over everyone, every situation, every condition. So these are the different types of cognitive distortions which leads to these forms of hopelessness. Okay. And sometimes this can also be the reason of lack of inspiration also. Maybe for example, maybe once the person was not able to do something properly, or maybe the person failed in some condition. So now he has overgeneralized that, okay, now I have failed, so I will not be able to do anything else also. And so for every condition, he feels that, okay, he is going to be a failure only. So that can also be a reason for the lack of inspiration, that he is not getting that inspiration to do anything. So any of these conditions are because of the cognitive distortion, these type of cognitive distortions. So how can we overcome this kind of hopelessness? So for this, it is very important that we need to work over or reassess our irrational thoughts or cognitive distortion. We need to think that what we are thinking, why is it correct? Is it correct or not? And why are we feeling that if this has happened once with us, so it is going to happen again and again? Okay. So it is very important that we should search for any evidence to the contrary of the situation every time we feel unsupported. Let's say, for example, if the person is feeling, okay, my friend should have helped me out in that condition and he did not help, so the person is getting that feeling of alienation or forsakenness. But then try to remember all those conditions wherein the person had helped you out. So that kind of thought will help the person to get back into a better cognition. Then actively seek out supportive relationships despite your fears or hesitations. Yes, so as I told you that because of this feeling of alienation, the person start avoiding people. So it is very important, when if you're feeling that, okay, you are not getting that kind of response from someone, so but that doesn't mean that everyone is like that. We need to go out to other relations that we have, and try to find out. It's not possible that no one is there to help us out. So we have to overcome that fear and hesitation, and we have to find out some support in our relationships. And in this case, what we can do is that we can join certain volunteer causes, helping out people, maybe some there are like many volunteer things like donating blood or things like that, so which helps you actually to connect to people also, and it gives you a feeling of a sense of doing something. And yes, it gives you a good feeling, and you get connected to people also. So you can join some spiritual organization or some kind of vocational classes which will give you a chance to interact with people. And then, like I told that you already, like always thinking in black and white. So it's important that we should think in the shades of gray also. It's not always that everything can be black or white, sahi, galat, wrong, right. It's not possible. There are shades of gray also. Okay, something if it happened, so there is something good in it also. Let's say, for example, when we experienced this lockdown and all, so most of the people saw it as a very hopeless condition, and people were sad and depressed. But then there were some people who saw it as an opportunity. Yes, we are sitting at home, but then it was an opportunity to give more time to the family. It was an opportunity to learn certain things new. So that is something which gives you hope. So these are certain ways of overcoming the hopelessness, the three types of hopelessness that we have discussed: alienation, forsakenness, and lack of inspiration. Let me just see the chat. Okay, all or nothing. Yeah, like I told you that all or nothing is simply like when people feel that it's either good or bad. We, like, for example, like I gave you of this only, that okay, that lockdown period, it was totally bad. A person can say it's the most hopeless condition, nothing good happened in it, nothing was good in it, it ruined my life, it ruined everything. But it's not always that way. Everything is not black, everything is not either completely wrong or completely right. There is something, a shade of gray. So like I told you that yes, it was a very hard condition, but still there was something good in it. It gave us chance to be with our family. It gave us chance to find something new for us ourselves. It gave us chance to, in fact, give time to ourselves also, to look within ourselves also. So that is something which is related to all or nothing. Yes. Okay, so moving ahead, the next three types of hopelessness: doom, helplessness, and captivity. So in this, again, there are different types of cognitive distortions that take place. Number one, jumping to conclusion. catastrophizing, and controlling the fallacies. So jumping to conclusions is like when we simply just, something has been told to us and we simply jump to a conclusion. This thing can happen with many times with people. Okay, okay, this is something which has happened. Okay, so we jump to conclusion. Okay, this is the end of the world coming. Okay, now this has happened, so now nothing can happen with me. Okay, now I'm captive at home, which happened during the lockdown period. Okay, now I'm closed at home, so now nothing good is going to happen to me. Okay, fine, now everything closed down. Initially people had this kind of feeling, actually. We jump to conclusion. Okay, now this is like maybe kind of end of life, god knows what is going to happen. But gradually we came out of it. We got hopes. Initially there was hopelessness, but we came out with certain hopes, that we found out new things, new ways to deal with those situations. But when there is a hopelessness, so it's basically because people jump to conclusions. They start believing, okay, if this has happened, then maybe this is what is going to happen. Okay, maybe if a person says, okay, you have been diagnosed with this, so person starts believing, okay, now my end is coming. Even though even if it is curable also, then also the person's believing that, okay, now my end is coming. So that is something jumping to conclusion, and it is actually like catastrophizing, where the person is like kind of making it such big. It is like where a person is believing that, okay, now I have got this, I am never going to come out of this thing. That belief that person developed. So in fact, it has been like proven scientifically also that many a times people, it's not the disease which actually kills them. It's the belief that they develop because of that disease, which leads to their lesser survival. They could have survived had they believed that they will be able to come out of that. But people start believing, they catastrophize it. They believe that this is something which can, which has brought an end to their life, and nothing can happen. But there are many such examples of people who have fought against many such conditions, and they have come out as the survivors of those conditions. So it is cognitive distortion which actually leads to the problem, and not exactly the problem itself. And then control fallacies. Control fallacies is again like just let's say, for example, again, if a person is diagnosed with a disease, so and maybe if someone, okay, said, okay, this disease is maybe cured, just 2 out of 10 times only this disease can be cured. So the person starts believing, okay, now nothing is done. But why not? You can be that 2 out of 10. But the person starts believing that now everything is out of the control, nothing can be done in this condition, nothing is possible. So that kind of feeling leads to all such 3 types of hopelessness in the person. So let me just... Yes, jumping to conclusion is like declaring the outcome. Very true. We already decided that this is now what is going to happen. After this, like nothing is going to be correct. Like it happens with many people. Like I was giving you example. During the period that happened during the pandemic, why many people couldn't survive? The reason was that because they heard that someone was not able to survive. So when they were diagnosed with the disease, they felt that okay, now the other person was not able to survive, so I will also not survive. But one has to understand that probably his physical condition was something different and your physical condition is something different, and if you are having a higher immune, you will survive. But that kind of thought which developed into people, they jumped to conclusions, and this happens with us many times in life. We simply jump to conclusion, okay, if I'm not able to do this, okay, so this will happen. Okay, once this has happened with me, okay, so now every time it is going to happen with me, and we catastrophize it. We make it like a big, something which is like made our life, it is making our life hell. It is something so big, and nothing can save you out of it. That kind of feeling that a person gets, that is what is there in this kind of hopelessness. So it is all a cognitive distortion. It is all a cognitive distortion. Yeah, jumping to conclusions without proof behind. Yeah, even if there's a proof, so it's not always applicable on everyone. It's not that something which was applicable on someone else will be applicable on you also. But then we take it that, okay, this has happened, so now this is going to happen with me also. Okay, so let's move ahead. So how can we overcome this kind of hopelessness? So it's very important to focus on the present situation rather than future outcome. So if we try to see what can be done presently rather than, okay, what is going to happen with me in future? Okay, now this has happened, so now my life is going to end. So people start waiting for their life to end, but they're not focusing on the present situation. Okay, what can we do in this particular situation? So it is very important to focus on the present situation. Those who feel doomed, maybe because of some kind of medical or psychiatric condition, like we have already discussed, they jump to conclusions. So it is very important that one should examine the evidence that, okay, if you're saying that this happens, so how many times has it happened? If it has happened once out of 100, so why do you believe that it is going to happen with you only? So that kind of thing, has to be stopped. So person has to examine the evidence against what he's thinking. And in this case, it's very important that the person should join certain support groups, especially when a person is going through some kind of chronic medical condition. So they should join some kind of support groups which will share their experiences, how they come out of it, how they face those challenges of the life and how they came out of it. So it gives a boost up to the person and helps him to learn through their experiences and learn through whatever they have faced in life, and they are able to get that motivation to come out of it. And if a person is dealing with some kind of unresolved trauma in his life, so in that case, definitely some kind of professional help can be taken by the person, which will help him to come out of it. Now coming to the last three of the hopelessness categories, that is powerlessness, oppression, and limitedness. So again, what kind of distorted thoughts are connected with this? Number one, disqualifying the positive. Number two, personalization. And number three, labeling. So what happens in this case is that disqualifying the positive. So basically, a person feels powerless or oppressed or limited in those conditions when the person disqualifies the positives. The person cannot appreciate the qualities that the person is having. The person is not able to feel good about himself. The person is not able to find something in himself which can give him that sense of power, which can give him that sense of feeling. Like there are certain people who will always say, oh, I am like this. I have no control over my life. My life is like this. I'm a very hopeless person. I can't do anything, because they are not able to find, or they are not able to appreciate what they have in their life. Okay, they are not able to talk about any success in their life. Even if they achieve something, they will like give credit to maybe luck. They will give credit to any other xyz thing, but not to themselves. And that is what gives them that feeling of powerlessness. They feel that they are not able to control their life. So that is one thing. The next is personalization, wherein a person takes certain things in a very personalized way. A person feels that whatever he's facing in his life, it is maybe again, it is like he's meant to face that. He's meant to, I'm made for like this condition only. This is going to happen with me only. Okay, so that is the person takes those things as individually. If something is happening, so he will take it in a very this way, that this is going to happen with me because I am made to be like that. And because of that, the person label themselves also. Okay, I'm unlucky. I'm unlucky, so I'll not be able to do this. I may not be able to get this. So that kind of distorted thoughts leads to different kinds of hopelessness in people. So how can we overcome this kind of hopelessness? So again, examining the evidence is a very good strategy. Like, wherein a person, when he's like discounting the positive, he's saying, okay, I have not been able to do anything good in the life. So then in that case, like, if for example, if you're a counselor, and as a counselor you will need to ask the person, okay, tell me about all those things when you achieved something. Maybe it may be very difficult for a person to say that, oh, I never did it. But pointing out to certain small things that the person did in his life, and talking about those positive things, the success that he had achieved, that can lead to that feeling in the person, a positive feeling in the person. So the list of making those list of successes that the person has achieved, and not discounting them, not rejecting them outwardly, is very important. And the person also needs to come out of that the thing of self blame. Many times such people, they have that tendency to self blame about anything which is happening. Okay, this bad happened because this was my luck, I am like this. So coming out of that is also again very important. Instead, the person can think about what were the various causes which could have caused this condition. So that is again very important. And then the labels, the harmful labels that the person is having with him. So he need to try to understand, like, if he has if the person is like labeling himself with anything, so why exactly he is labeling himself with these things? What are the things which is actually showing him to be that way? So coming out of that thought process, many times some people are able to do it by themselves. Sometimes they need a professional help to come out of these distorted thoughts. Okay, let me just quickly check the chat. Yes. So okay, yeah, in India, lack of proper support group is severe. Yeah, that is true, but still there are many still we have, now we are working towards it. We are getting certain types of groups which can be helpful. Even friends can be a good support group for people. And nowadays, with the through internet, the whole world is a at our click of one button. So we can get those kind of support groups even online also. And yes, taking personally that he or she is responsible for everything. Yeah, very true. So that is something which we have already discussed. So we have discussed actually what are certain things which needs to be done to come out of these different types of hopelessness. And then lastly, I would just quickly like to discuss some of the these are certain things which are to be done for every kind of hopelessness, but then there are certain general practical tips which can be used for if any person is facing any kind of hopelessness. So that is whenever a person is feeling some kind of hopelessness or some kind of that feeling within him, so certain relaxation techniques, we have several relaxation techniques, certain breathing techniques. We have certain breathing techniques in our which are a part of our mind coach program also, like 352 and all. So they help the person to relax, and once the person is relaxed, he is able to think in a more proper, in a more positive way. That cognitive distortion, the thought distortion which is there, once a person is relaxed, because when you are having anxiety, you are more prone to thinking into more negative side. So relaxation techniques can be very helpful. Then the mind coach techniques, there are several advanced mind coach techniques that are there, which are under the exclusive mind coach program of NHCA, which is conducted by Dr. Mittal. So we have certain techniques in them, like the hope technique is there, and the dark hole and the angel technique is there, the survivor technique is there. So these techniques are very, very helpful. So those people who are trained into these techniques, they can help out such people to come out of these this kind of hopelessness. Then other than that, we have simple other professionals with emotional wellness and all. So we have other people also, some psychologists, counselors, who can help out person with any such sort of problem. Then one thing which is very important is finding joy in these small things. Hopelessness appears in life when person stops finding joy in whatever he is having. So it becomes very important that we should find joy in the things that we are doing, the things that we have around us. And so for that, it is very important that we should observe the things that we have and we should be grateful for them. So maintaining a gratitude journal is one of the very good way in which we can retain hope. Every day writing down at the end of the day for maybe for 5 things that you are grateful about in the whole day can help you build hope. So that is something very good thing that should be done by everyone. Then argue the opposite. Yes, whenever we are coming with certain types of thoughts in our mind, negative thoughts, so we should always try to argue the negative. Like if I'm saying that this is this, okay, I'm not good for anything, but then I have been able to do this in my life. So this shows that no, I can't say that I'm totally no good. So that kind of argument, though it's very difficult, a person who's totally engulfed into the negativity will not be able to do that. But maybe a professional to whom, if the person is going, they will be able to help out in that. But as we always should, whenever we are finding ourselves moving into that negativity, we should always try to counter it with something positive that we have attained in life. And then finally, consider what you could gain from developing hope. So think, okay, you're saying everything is hopeless, but just think about it. Let's say, for example, okay, I got okay, this is the most catastrophic illness that I've got. Now nothing can be done. Okay, nothing can be done. If nothing can be done, then it's okay. But then at least by keeping hope, maybe something can happen. It's already said, okay, it has been told that yes, this is the illness and your chances are very less. But by keeping the hope that things will change, at least something will change. So that kind of thoughts, if we'll develop, it will definitely help us out. So that's it from my part. I think, yeah, we have exceeded the time a little, but it was very, very important. So it was needed to be completed. So yes, now I think I'll not be able to take any other questions and all, because it is already exceeding the time, and I hope you all liked the session. Thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. And thank you so much.